I think there were some concerns, but ultimately the majority of the owners in the league thought it was the best for the league, certainly our organization, and I think the game in general. I think studies, they've done independent research about.
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by DKI Canada. Across the street, across the country. He was rock solid on defense for 5 NLL championships, a 3-time All-Star, Glenn Clark. Now he's coaching the newest Canadian-based franchise, Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today hails from Pickering, Ontario, a 6'2", 211-pound defender in his playing days, a junior lacrosse star with Scarborough and Ajax. He led Brooklyn to the Mann Cup championship, played 9 years in the NLL, a 3-time All-Star, helped lead the Toronto Rock to 5 NLL championships, former head coach in Toronto, New England, and the current head coach of the Oshawa Firewolves, the newest NLL team. Welcome to the program, Glenn Clark. Glenn, great to have you here.
Great to be here, Joe. Thank you. I love the title, Great Canadian Sports Show. I've been living in the U.S. for a couple of years, so it feels all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, buddy. Now you're Canadian all the way through and through with a Canadian-based team. That's kind of fun. But I want to talk about your career a little bit first. Born and raised in Pickering, what guided you into the sport of lacrosse?
I was a hockey and lacrosse guy, like most of the box lacrosse players. So it was actually a teammate of mine that I was playing minor hockey with, youth hockey with, that was a lacrosse player and asked if I wanted to play. And I played for the now defunct Ajax Minor Lacrosse Association. And just, I think I started playing when I was 10 years old. And then after midget lacrosse, went into junior B in Scarborough, junior A in Whitby, and then just continued the hockey and lacrosse path parallel for quite a while, and then ended up playing in the NLL.
So was there something that about the game of lacrosse that made you think that this is a sport that I really want to pursue, as opposed to hockey? Because it sounded like you had some choices.
Well, I mean, I always saw myself as a hockey guy. I played university hockey for the University of Toronto for 4 years, and then went and played pro hockey down in the East Coast League for a couple of years. So I was doing both at the same time, and I had a parallel love. When it was hockey season, I loved hockey. When it was lacrosse season, I loved lacrosse season. And I kept both of them going when I was playing university and pro hockey, I was playing senior lacrosse in the summertime. So I just kind of kept them both going, had a love for both of them and ran them as long as I could. And then the NLL model, eventually I became a school teacher, and the NLL model really fit that lifestyle of being able to play your sport at the highest level, but also continue on in a career that has some sustainability and some length to it. So it was a nice journey, and it was a nice fit of all those pieces along the way.
So coach and teacher, that's probably a pretty common combination amongst teachers. I think of guys like Mike Keenan and other guys. There's a lot of guys who went the coaching route from teaching. Is that a natural progression?
It is. And funny enough, Mike Keenan coached the University of Toronto just before I got there, prior to him getting into the NHL. So it certainly is. I mean, teaching gives you those skills and those strengths of communication and organization and planning and thinking on your feet. So they're very closely tied. And I was a phys ed teacher for almost 25 years. So you're coaching school sports, you're setting up lesson plans with all different activities in sports. So there's so much transferable skill and knowledge that comes from not only teaching, but in particular teaching phys ed, that, it's absolutely it's a nice breeding ground for teaching you how to be a coach and strengthening those skills.
Right. And before you became a coach, you were a heck of a player, drafted in the NLL in the fourth round by the Rock in 1997. And that worked out pretty well for you, becoming a member of the Toronto Rock.
Yeah. When I look back on all the things I've done sports-wise, and I've had a lot of great memories and successes in all different areas, but that stretch from 1998 to 2005, where we won 5 championships, we were playing in front of a full building in Maple Leaf Gardens, and then transferring over to the Air Canada Centre, was quite a special time, and would be really at the top of my list of sporting opportunities and things I was able to do.
Well, yeah, you talk about this, like 5 championships in Toronto over a 7-year period. Like, that's unprecedented, really. Certainly for Toronto sports. I don't know if you knew it or not, but we have a hockey team that hasn't won in a little while. I believe this might be the first video for the first championship in 1999, if I'm not mistaken. Tell us about
looks like it.
Yeah. Tell us about this. There you are, right there. Yeah.
It was crazy because we had started in Hamilton. We were called the Ontario Raiders in 98. And then much like we just did with Albany to Oshawa, we had moved, and we'd heard rumors about it. We'd moved from Hamilton, the Cops Coliseum, into Maple Leaf Gardens. And it was just such a magical season because you didn't really know what to expect. And I believe our first game there, we had 8,000 or 9,000 and as players, and we were, wow, this is fantastic. And it just continued to grow as the season went along to sellouts and standing room only. And that game was the culmination of that season. And we weren't the Toronto Rock, the championship Toronto Rock team yet. We really didn't know what we were. And we just kept getting stronger and better. And eventually that was the kickoff to that real special run, not only for our team having success, but also the next year at Maple Leaf Gardens, we won the championship to a full building most of the year. And then that translated and transferred over to the Air Canada Centre, where we had lots of success and great crowds, and just really a magical run for, as you mentioned, that 7-year window.
Yeah. And it was started at the top. You had good ownership, you had good support. It was run really well. I mean, I remember going to Rock games and just thinking, wow, this is a lot of fun. This is hot. Yeah. I mean, the music's played throughout the game, and it's really cooking. It really is a blast. Now, you talked about the following season, the 2000 title game. Memorable game for many reasons, of course, against Rochester. This was the last sporting championship event for sure anyway, played at Maple Leaf Gardens. Kaleb Toth scoring that goal with 1 second to go, which proved to be, of course, the winner. And then it was pandemonium. Whipper Watson was terrific in that game. Dan Stroop had 5 goals. That made it back-to-back championships. And, of course, the chance to lift that championship trophy in front of the home fans one more time. Tell us about the feeling.
It was incredible because you win the first year. Obviously, that's an amazing accomplishment, and what we were doing in the community and the success and the excitement. And then you go back again, and now you've got a bit of a target on your back. You're playing in front of full buildings. And the amazing thing about that run, that 7-year run, the 5 championships, we went to 6 finals as well. And won 5 championships in 7 years, but 6 finals in 7 years is impressive as well. But a lot of times we were winning games like that. I mean, that was a 1-goal game with 1 second left. We won it. I remember a semifinal against the Gate brothers and Washington. We won in overtime to go to the final, and then had a 1-goal game against the old Albany Attack to win the final. So it wasn't like we just showed up and steamrolled everyone. We had a lot of 1-goal victories. We had a lot of come from behind victories. We had a lot of adversity along the way. And the thing I say about that team that amazes me the most, and I've been involved in sport for forever, is I've never been around a group that was so calm, polished, and attention to detail. We really wore teams down with attrition. We didn't make mistakes, no matter how big the game was. We stayed level. We played at a certain speed, intensity, and composure. And it really wore teams down over the long run. And I think we were obviously talented, but on paper, you could make an argument the other teams were more talented. But the composure, the discipline, and just the battle that group had across those years was really amazing.
Yeah, and you talked about how so many of those games could have gone the other way. I mean, winning 5 championships and making the final 6 times in 7 years, that is incredible. And it's a tough league, a grueling league, and a very tough sport. I want to got a little bit of video here from explaining what a tough game lacrosse is. You're action with you again for the Toronto Rock and getting your bucket knocked off. And let's you managed to keep your cool and draw the penalty. Here we go, right here. Boom.
Yeah. It is a punishing game, and it takes a lot out of you. And there are a lot of impact type injuries and things that happen along the way. And but it's just, I tell people when they ask about the indoor game, I said I think it's the perfect sport in terms of you've got speed and collision of football, you've got grace and control of basketball, and then the intensity and the contact and the continual contact of hockey. So it just really brings in all the elements that people love in sports and in athletics and just smashes it all into one, and which is what I think makes it personally, I played football, I played rugby, I played hockey, I played lacrosse, and I played all of them at a good level. Lacrosse is, from a spectator standpoint, is definitely my favorite sport, just because of all those pieces that are there from an athletic standpoint.
Yeah, is there any way to explain what happened with that team? I mean, to explain that I guess in a couple of sentences, what made it super special? And how did you know you were going to win? And how did it come together for you? Like, what was it about that Toronto Rock team that? Yeah,
I honestly think it was, obviously we had great coaching. The late great Les Bartley, who the NLL coaching award is named after, was an amazing innovator. And I know he's in the Hall of Fame, and the coaching award is named after him. But I still don't think he gets enough credit for what an innovator and leader and coach he was. He was an amazing individual and really changed and professionalized the level of coaching that is in the NLL. And then our 2 assistant coaches, Derek Keenan and Ed Comeau, who are my peers now. Eddie runs Georgia, and Derek Keenan is in Saskatchewan, and have both had success there as well. So we had a great coaching staff, second to none when you look at the caliber of what they've done and what they went on to do. And then the athletes we had, I mentioned it earlier, jam is too simple of a word for what that group had, but there was an intensity, there was a composure, and there was a work rate that just, I've never been around a team that's been able to match it consistently like that group. And we had a core of people that were around for all of those years, Jimmy Veltman being the leader of that, and arguably the best all-around lacrosse player I've ever seen. Well, not arguably, he is the best all-around lacrosse player I've ever seen. Lacrosse has sort of been specialized now into O and D, and you have to have that conversation independently. But from my viewpoint and experience, Jimmy's the best all-around player that I've ever been around. So we had him as our leader, Bobby Watson as the top goalie in the league, and then a lot of other pieces that really allowed us to have the success that we had. But I mean, it was coaching, it was composure, it was consistency, and I haven't seen it matched in my experience.
What got you into coaching, and how did that transition occur?
It always seemed natural to me. I mean, I always enjoyed it. I did it with my older boys when I coached them growing up. I even coached when I was actually in high school. I coached house leagues, hockey teams and things like that. Back in Pickering Minor Hockey Association, I coached when I was in university. I went back and coached some minor lacrosse teams in the summer. So I always enjoyed it. I always enjoyed being around the game. And as you transition and get older, it's your avenue to stay in the game and stay competitive because it's very difficult. I played in the NLL till I was 37 and played senior lacrosse till I was 40. So it's very difficult to transition away from being that athlete. There's very few things that kind of give you that rush and give you that ability to compete. So for me, I wanted to stay involved. I wanted to stay in the competition, and your body eventually no longer allows you to do that. But your mind can transition, and you can try and give back and try and grow in that craft, which is what I've tried to do over the last, now it's 20 years, which, man, it seems like a long time. But it was more a necessity. There was two things. I loved it, and it was also about staying in the game and staying involved.
Right. Yeah. And as you mentioned, time flies, man. Time flies.
Does it ever?
So you became the coach. You were the New England Black Wolves and then the Albany Black Wolves. Actually, here's how you sized up the club a few years ago. We have a clip from a few years back. I think you were still in New England.
Seen a lot of good things we wanted to see, things we anticipated seeing out of certain guys. So it's nice, you think you're putting the pieces together that you want, and so we're seeing some of that play out, which is nice.
What are the biggest things you have to change heading into the new year? Is there anything that you've taken a look at in the off season and said we need to make some corrections here and need to clean this up a little bit heading into the new season?
Yeah, probably the biggest thing for us was, sort of our defensive transition type of game. We had too many turnovers, too many missed repossession opportunities in our own zone. So a real focus for us was, I say to the guys, get it up, keep it up kind of thing. We want to get the ball, obviously off the floor, get it up the floor, and avoid turnovers, avoid repossessions for the offense because, over the course of a game, it's a one-goal league for the most part, and those mistakes usually come back to bite you. So the focus for us was a little more athleticism, a little more stick skills at the back end, and a little more ability to push pace up the floor.
Teaching, big part of it, right?
Yeah, and it is, and you have to have that mindset. There's a great book out there called Growth Mindset, and I believe it. I believe in improvement and constant improvement, and improvement of the group makes everyone better. So it's an interesting journey. I was I don't know if I was the head coach and the GM at that point. I can't remember exactly when that clip was, but transitioning from being head coach to having the dual role, I really enjoy it because you have the opportunity to get the ingredients and bake the cake, so to speak. So go after what you want, shape the team the way you want it, and then be able to coach it. So I really enjoy that part of it.
Well, yeah, you get a chance to do that again now, and it's pretty cool. So most recently in Albany now, you guys, this is last year, you're coming off your third overtime loss at home in the season, and it was a tough one to explain, but you gave it a good shot. Let's roll that clip.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you get to overtime and it becomes one shot. We haven't been on the right end of any of that yet. This was just a back and forth game contest, right? It wasn't sort of like the Calgary game where we were in a good spot and we kind of let it slip away. This was just, in fact, we kind of battled back and tied it to get it to that spot. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, everybody looks for answers. So do I. I don't have any.
Yeah, the answers to those. Yeah, the game's like 30 goals scored in a game, but it always seems to be a one goal decision, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I remember that stretch too. It's the pain of coaching because we had went to the championship the year prior with the youngest team in the league, and we still had the youngest team in the league last year. We might still have the youngest team in the league this year because we really pivoted through the draft, and we've got, I think it's 9 or 10 first rounders in our lineup from the last 4 drafts. So we've really reconfigured our group with a lot of high-end talent, but that takes time to percolate. We got to the finals the first year, and at that point when I was doing that interview, we were crushed with injuries. We had lost our top 3 D guys, and we'd lost 3 OT games in a row at home, which is crushing in our league because you play 18 games. It's almost like an NFL football model where every game has such impact. You don't play 80 games, you play 18. And when you lose 3 overtime games in a row at home and you're trying to hold the group together, I can almost feel and remember the exasperation of trying to answer those questions again in that press conference. Because it's anybody that coaches at any level, but certainly at the professional level, knows how difficult that is.
Yeah. Sorry for bringing that up. I just
no, good now.
But then you ended up winning a bunch of 1-goal games after that. So, and you almost made the playoffs, coming up just short.
Yeah, in fact, the last week, we were 2-8 at one point, and I think we got ourselves to 7-9. And the last weekend of the season, we could have got into the playoffs if things worked different ways.
Yeah.
We got an opportunity to get in. So I was pretty proud of the way we finished.
Well, okay, so now the franchise makes the move this offseason. Albany Firewolves are now the Oshawa Firewolves. First of all, what prompted the move?
Pro sports prompted the move. We did not get – we had a great and loyal fan base in Albany, but it wasn't big enough to drive the engine of pro sports. So our crowds were – the lowest in terms of paid attendance in the league. And it's unfortunate because I had moved my family down here. We'd committed to the community. We had players in market. We had a school program that was in 60 elementary schools a year and community engagement. And we really put a lot into the Albany community and we really developed a loyal fan base. It just wasn't big enough. And it wasn't consistent enough for ownership to be able to make it sustainable and viable in the community. So that's really the simplest answer. The whys and the hows are almost impossible to answer. I mean, we did a lot in the community. We tried hard in the community. We embraced and embedded ourselves in the community, but it just didn't translate. So eventually ownership had to make a tough decision, and it was a tough decision for them, and looked at markets. And Oshawa really, they actually asked me a lot of questions along the way, knowing that I'm essentially from that area and what I thought. And Oshawa and the surrounding areas of Whitby, Peterborough, Clarington, Pickering, on and on and on, is really one of, if not the biggest hotbeds of lacrosse in Canada, which makes it one of the hotbeds in the world for the indoor game. So there's a fan base that's educated, that is really supports the indoor game. And I wasn't even really thinking of this until I did the press conference with the mayor and council members, that we're the first professional team that's ever played in Oshawa. And when you put it in that context, it's kind of cool. And it's a sport that the area embraces. It's a sport the area loves. So I think it's just going to be such a good marriage of the two. And we've already seen the outreach and the support and the interest and all of those telltale signs that you look for when trying to embed in a community and embrace a community. They've already been there in this short time that we've made the announcement. So it's really been great to see, and I think it's going to be a real success.
Yeah, we saw some video there from the Tribute Community Center, and I've got a lot of friends in the Oshawa area. I spent about 30 years there, and there's so many lacrosse fans, and they are so pumped up about this. This is like, to me, it's a no-brainer. It's almost like, why did this not happen sooner? And when you think about it, this is one of the hotbeds of lacrosse, as you mentioned, in the world, because, being what it is, the Green Gales, I've seen the Green Gales golf tournament for every year for 100 years. And there's so much, Whitby and Brooklyn Clarington and like it's big. Lacrosse is huge, and the excitement is palpable for sure. It's talked to a few of my lacrosse buddies last week, and they're jacked. So you must be feeling some of that too.
We are, and it started with the press conference. We did the press conference at the building, and it was standing room only. I was blown away with the number of people that attended, and members of the community, members of the town council, MPPs, media, youth sports, all the connections, people from Peterborough lacrosse and areas all around. So there's an amazing attachment to the game in that community. And like you said, it is a no-brainer. And I think the exciting thing is, as well as the mayor was mentioning, that they have a $50 million renovation project over the next 2 summers for that building to enhance the fan experience, but also to increase capacity. And they're going to allow us to be a part of that with the Generals. So it's very exciting for the community. It's very exciting for the team. And I'm with you, Joe. I think it's going to be an amazing success.
Wow, just the timing, the $50 million renovation happening just as Lacrosse enters the building. That's going to be, for sure, Lacrosse will have a big impact on that, which is pretty awesome.
And I think that, behind the scenes is probably a big selling feature as well for the league and the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the stars are aligning here, no doubt about it. You mentioned the first pro sports franchise in Oshawa, and there's a lot of good things happening. How are the Firewolves positioned team-wise for the upcoming season?
Amazing. We, as I mentioned, we're still the youngest team in the league. We have the 2 reigning rookies of the year, as well as the guy who finished second and the guy who finished top 3 in those other years. So when I say we're a young team and we have 9 first rounders from the last 4 drafts, they aren't insignificant pieces. They are players that are ready to burst onto the scene. We have arguably the best goalie in the league in Dougie Jamieson. We've got athletic and veteran-laden defense, but also very young back there. So I tell people when we talk about our team, we're positioned to be in the conversation now for a championship, but it's a sustainable model for the next 5 or 6 years because we're so young. I believe we're probably the youngest team in the league again this year, and we have been for the last 2 years. And with the youngest team in the league, we went to the finals against a very good and veteran-laden Buffalo team. So I think we're in position not only to be really good this year, but have sustained success in the market and in the NLL.
Does this team remind you of those Rock teams in any way?
It does, in a sense that personalities, we really are very careful about how we build the dressing room and what we allow in there from a personality standpoint. I mean, we want good people and we want good leaders. And we brought a player in particular last year who was a veteran, had been around, 2 of them actually. And both of their commentary was the ease of this dressing room and the genuine excitement that they have for each other is something they've never seen. And, you often get players that'll come in and tell you what you want to hear. But these were exit comments and things that really held weight for me, because it is something we've tried to do. It's this culture we've tried to build. And I think we have that. And we had that a lot in Toronto. And I think if you can limit any sort of issues or infighting within your organization, within your team, it allows you to build and build positive relationships and experiences and success because you don't have an anchor tied to your organization. So I see those similarities, and I think we're a team that really is poised to have a successful run here.
Well, you talked about your young star players, and one of them, of course, is Dyson Williams. He's a rising superstar in the sport. He talked about an opportunity to finally get a chance to play at home. Just rolled out there.
You're playing your second year of pro lacrosse, and it's going to be in your hometown. So it's obviously super exciting. But growing up, I actually never gotten the chance to play for Oshawa. Playing box lacrosse growing up, I always played for Whitby. So I was Whitby Warrior through, when I started playing when I was 3 years old, all the way up until junior A, and then, playing with the Brooklyn Lacrosse Club. So I've, although I'm from Oshawa, I've never actually had the opportunity to, wear Oshawa on my jersey and represent, the city I'm from. So it's a full circle and completely amazing opportunity for, me to, represent my community and, come out and battle and hopefully chase some championships with my teammates.
Yeah, you talk about he played for Whitby in junior. 1 year in junior, he had 95 points in 19 games. Last year as a rookie in the NLL, has 65 points in 18 games. How good is this kid?
Well, and he was the rookie of the year as well. The previous year we had Alex Simmons. Dyson's great. And you mentioned those Whitby junior years. I was coaching against him for all those years because I was coaching junior A with the Toronto Beaches Club. So I had to live a lot of that. But it's an interesting story too, because I've known Sean. Sean's dad he went to Pickering High School as well. Sorry, Dyson's dad, Sean.
Yeah.
Sean went to Pickering High School as well. So Sean and I have known each other since the 80s. We played together in Brooklyn. We played together in Toronto. We played together on Team Canada, and played together in Coquitlam at West. We went out West one summer and played together. So, I've known Sean, played with Sean for a long time, and in fact was playing with Sean when Dyson was born. So I've known Dyson really his whole life, and to be able to draft him. Obviously watch his career. My son is a year older than Dyson, but in lacrosse, you play those 2-year windows. So I would watch Dyson all the way along and watched him obviously in junior and followed his career because it was mirrored and at the same time as my oldest guy. And obviously I knew the family as well. So it's really cool. He talks about a full circle moment, but it is a full circle moment for me as well, being, the connection I had with his dad, literally playing with his dad when he was born, and now having the opportunity to coach him at pro. So it's got to be exciting for Dyson and the Williams family. And it's, again, another really cool part of our journey into Oshawa.
Yeah, and then Sean, isn't he coaching somewhere else like Georgia or something?
Vegas.
Vegas. That's right. The Vegas Desert Dogs. That's right. Yeah, that's better. So that'll be fun playing Vegas. I believe you guys go to Vegas this year, don't you?
We do. Yes, we do go to Vegas this year. And we had them in Albany last year. So that was a pretty cool moment for Sean and Dyson for sure.
Well, that'll be the good road trip, for the Oshawa fans.
Yeah, it's never
nice to play against Sean in Vegas. Yeah, that'll be all right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, they moved to. They were right on the Strip. We played at
T-Mobile.
Pardon me.
T-Mobile Arena? No, was it T-Mobile?
No, we didn't play in the big one. We played in one of the arenas in the casinos.
MGM Grand or MGM.
Not MGM. Harris. I can't really remember. It was on the. It was on the Strip through New York. New York, maybe we're back there. But they've moved off the Strip to a place called Henderson, which I think has maybe an American Hockey League team that shares the venue with them. So they're still in Vegas, but they're a little off the Strip now in a building in Henderson, Nevada.
Well, it'll be fun, and Grisky's involved with that team, so it's got some weight power there. So your season opens Friday, November 28th at home against the Toronto Rock. I can see a nice rivalry brewing here.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Geographical rivalries are the best. And I think it really has the opportunity to pull the GTA together, because there's going to be fans that are going to be able to be fans of both teams. And then you're going to have fans that will be able to settle into their own organization. But I think it has the opportunity to really create a frenzied atmosphere across the GTA. And I think it's going to be good for both organizations.
Yeah, I think the Rock, are they still playing in Hamilton, or is it Oakville now? Or
no, they've just moved back to Hamilton. They were in Mississauga last year,
right?
While Hamilton was being renovated, and now they are back in Hamilton.
Okay, what's it called now?
Yeah, I think it's the First Ontario place.
First Ontario place. That's right. So, was there some pushback from the Rock about your move to Oshawa?
I'm not really sure what the level was, because that would have been at the Board of Governors level, because we had to get approval from the league to move, and that had to be voted on by all the individual entities. So I think there were some concerns, but ultimately the majority of the owners in the league thought it was the best for the league, certainly our organization, and I think the game in general. I think studies, they've done independent research about the GTA in particular, and determined that we need more lacrosse in that area. So it sort of fits that narrative, and I think it's I think all parties, at least the majority of the ownership in the NLL, thought that it was the best thing for the game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue about the rivalry between, say, the Rangers and Islanders or Devils, right? those games.
And it doesn't hurt their bottom line either. Their fan base, their ticket base. I mean, it probably enhances it.
Ultimately, those will be big games both ways.
Big time.
Rock in Oshawa in Hamilton. It'll be a blast, I'm for sure. So we on this program we're partnered with a group called Believe, Become, Be You. It's a mentorship program for kids 10 to 17, inspired by the late Sean Gindy, led by Papa Jack Gindy. What's the message you might be having right now for kids who are struggling to find their way?
Man, that's a big one, Joe. I know from personal experience. I was one of those kids, and sports was really my avenue and my outlet to find success in life. So I think sports or any activity that people are involved in and can find passion and joy in those distractions is valuable. And struggles are, people aren't alone in different struggles. And I think that most things do pass. And I think that programs for youth and mentorship and people that invest in young people with their time and their caring is invaluable. And I'm a product of that, and I'm a strong believer in it. And those types of organizations really do change and impact the lives of young people.
Well said. So the Instagram, Firewolves NLL, and Glenn Clark 1113 on Facebook, Oshawa Firewolves. Now, the Firewolves name specifically has some Indigenous meaning as well.
It does, and I don't want to mess it up, but I do know. I remember the process, and it was a long process, and it was called consultation with community members, Indigenous community members in the Albany area, because there's quite a rich history there as well. And the significance of fire and wolves, which ultimately became the name out of a lot of, there was 1,900 submissions or something like that when we were naming the team in Albany. But essentially, the fire is the gathering. Wolf is to do with the Wolf clan. But it is certainly, and I apologize, I don't have a better recollection of how the name came together, but it certainly was derived with purpose and with meaning, and in consultation of Indigenous community members in the area. So there is a real significant tie-in to the Indigenous community, and which is one of the reasons why ownership wanted to have the name transfer into the Oshawa community.
Well, we are really excited about the Oshawa Firewolves, and thanks for taking this time to join us, and Glenn, and good luck with the move. Good luck with the season, and looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. That's great. No, it's been a great. I appreciate the work you put into putting this together. There was a lot of good old clips and information. It was pretty cool.
All right, thanks, Glenn. We try hard here. Producer Vic is great in there. Yeah, and our buddy Paul Pasco, who puts the video together, he's awesome too. Okay, when we come back, NLL Hall of Famer Colin Doyle talks about some of his biggest goals and toughest scraps. Back after this.
In 1992, the best locally owned restoration companies came together with one goal: to make disaster recovery better for Canadians. And to this day, DKI remains one of the only 100% Canadian-owned disaster restoration groups in the market. Fire, flood, or storm damage. When things go wrong, the right help makes all the difference. With the right tools and local expertise, we handle everything from emergency response to full-scale restoration, getting homes and businesses back on track the right way. Because a home is more than four walls, a business is more than a building, and recovery is about more than repairs. When you choose DKI, you're choosing a company that's put Canada first since 1992. Locally owned, nationally backed, Canadian through and through. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center. Saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Hearing loss doesn't have to mean missing out. At Hear Canada, we help you take charge with a complimentary hearing assessment because confidence starts with clarity. Discover hearing aids, accessories, and expert care at your local hearing center. Not sure where to start? Our Hearing Health Guide has the basics for you or a loved one. It worked for us. Book your free assessment today at hearcanada.com. Conditions may apply.
This is an incredible goal that you scored. And well, I mean, you scored a lot of incredible goals, let's face it. But you particularly rose to, here's a replay. And you're going to set up in front of the net. And here it comes. Between the legs. Boom. That was a pretty goal.
And it sure was. Yeah. It's bringing me back. You know, the thing.
Yeah, so tell me something. Yeah, go ahead.
The funny thing with creativity, I mean, I was, even in the years where we were defensive first, I had coaches that, to an extent, let me be me. And I never felt bound by anything. I would try lots of different stuff. And there were times where a coach would pull me aside privately and say, hey, look, maybe too much. But, you know, more often than not, coaches let me away with it. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. But it was, you know, creativity is something that's kind of gets lost in the game today. And I'm all for it because you do get wonderful moments like that. But even on the defensive first teams, the coach had enough patience and you know, enough rope with me, enough leash with me to say, hey, look, listen, you can do it, but you know when you can't. So I guess looking back at that, I don't know if anybody could get away with that, but it was fun.
Well, you did it more than once. So you had some great goals. Now, also, like playoff time, that's when you really rose to the occasion. You were a 3-time NLL playoff MVP. What was it about the playoffs that brought the best out of you, or what happened to you in the playoffs?
I think, you know, in the playoffs, well, I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, like, I hated to lose. So no matter what, I was going to do everything I could to make sure our team won the game. And I think that the underlying factor in all of that was that I wanted to win. I hated to lose. But on top of that, I don't think the moment really scared me. I enjoyed having the ball on my stick and times it counted, and I enjoyed, having to put a team on my back if I had to. But I think it all falls back to that simple fact that, the will to win, outweighed everything else that might be a deterrent for some players in playoff time. It wasn't for me because, I really wanted to win. I wanted to win so bad.
Well, you played, as you say, to win. You played hard. You weren't a particularly big guy, but you certainly were fearless. And lacrosse is a sport where, it can get nasty at times. And when fights break out, they unlike skates, you can really plant your feet and throw them. And we do have a little bit of this of you getting into it with a little bit bigger opponent. The guy's name is Paul Dawson of the Bandits. One tough dude. He had about a foot on you in this contest. But, you're hanging in there. This was one of the toughest guys in lacrosse. And, tell us about this.
That was my first game back. I'd been traded away from Toronto for 3 years, and they had paid a lot to get me back with the new ownership group. And this was the first home game back. And, I felt like it was the right thing to do, at that time, to kind of show my teammates what it means to be back and show the fans what this team meant to me. And maybe I'm glad I'm still standing after that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He was a tough guy.
Yeah, you can see it, man. The guy's got leverage. He's big. It's like fighting a heavyweight. It really is. It's like getting it on with Lennox Lewis out there. They can't go extremely well, but give you credit because you hung in there. And if there's anybody who could ever be named Captain Rock, it would definitely be you.
Discover the secret to timeless vitality at Renew Medical Center in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Our specialists unravel the science of aging, tailoring plans to defy its effects. Experience cutting-edge regenerative therapies such as stem cells and exosomes, addressing aging at its core.
It's a wonderful spot, and I highly recommend it for whatever you may need, whether you just want to feel better, you want to look better, have basically a quality of life, just to ramp it up a little bit as we age.
Liberate yourself from aging-related concerns, where accountability, technology, and passion for regenerative medicine converge. Begin your path to peak health and wellness with us. Schedule your appointment today at renewpv.com and elevate your quality of life.
Parents, what's the biggest fear for kids 10 to 14? A future they think they can't handle. At Believe, Become, Be You, we know confidence in the future is a habit we can build. Our course doesn't just prepare kids for the future, it seeds them with skills they will use now. For a limited time, the I Believe in Me Foundation is offering the first 1,000 kids and their parents 1 year free access. This priceless opportunity will save you over $2,000. This isn't just a course. It's a journey in developing life-enhancing skills that will grow with your child, fostering gritty minds, creative futures, and better bonds. Get signed up now at BelieveBecomeBeYou.com. That's BelieveBecomeBeYou.com.
And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all, and thank you for your support of Canadian sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, check out our show on YouTube. All of the past great shows are on there, clips and shorts. Like and subscribe. It's free. Our socials, at Joseph Tilley on Instagram and Threads. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show on Facebook. Thanks once again to Glenn Clark for joining us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. And let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Joe Tilley here. My wife Penny Claire and I recently took an amazing trip to Egypt and Jordan with Trip Oppo. And here are our top 10 must-dos. Last but not least, we relaxed at a luxury resort and took a dip in the famous Dead Sea. This beautiful resort was a perfect way to cap off our incredible adventure in Egypt and Jordan. After days of exploring ancient ruins and bustling markets, it was wonderful to just kick back, put on a little mud, and soak up the sun by the Dead Sea. Oh, I almost forgot to mention the amazing cuisine in Egypt and Jordan. Don't forget to try the delicious local food like mouth-watering Egyptian barbecue. And the best part is that our Trip Oppo tour includes almost all of the meals, so you can indulge in the local cuisine without worrying about opening your wallet. I would highly recommend that you book your next trip through Trip Oppo. Call them today. Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit sleepyhollowcountryclub.com.